If you are over 60 or if you love someone who is, this video could save a life. Because today we're uncovering the quiet morning habits that can triple your risk of stroke. And most people don't even realize they're doing them. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, tap the bell icon, and stay until the very end, because I promise you, the last two habits we reveal are the most dangerous and the most overlooked. Missing them could mean the difference between a normal morning and a life-changing event. Every year, hundreds of thousands of seniors experience strokes, many of them without warning, many without ever seeing it coming. But what if the first signs were hiding in plain sight? What if something as ordinary as brushing your teeth, pouring a cup of coffee, or scrolling your phone first thing in the morning was quietly pushing your body toward danger? That's exactly what I've been sharing here on this channel for a long time. Simple habits, often overlooked, can make a huge difference in your health and well-being. And every time I bring these messages, my goal is the same: to help you and your loved ones protect your life, gain more energy, and prevent problems before they even start. Strokes do not appear out of nowhere. The signs are always there, the causes are building up, and with the right awareness, many of them can be prevented. And here's the surprising part. Prevention often starts early in the morning, sometimes before you even step out of bed. When most people think about a stroke, they picture something sudden and dramatic, a collapse, slurred speech, or a frozen face. But in reality, the warning signs are usually far more subtle, hidden in those quiet, everyday moments when you least expect them. Imagine reaching for your toothbrush and your hand doesn't quite land where it should. You go to sip your tea, but it dribbles slightly down your chin. You try to button a shirt, but your fingers feel clumsy, just a little off. Not numb, not paralyzed, just wrong. These tiny slips are easy to brush off as aging or arthritis. But they are not normal. They are neurological. They are your brain whispering that blood flow is being interrupted. And if you catch these whispers early, you can act before disaster strikes. Think about it. Sometimes the body sends out signals so subtle that we tend to ignore them. Maybe you start dropping things from your hands more often, fumbling with buttons, or even blanking out on a simple word when writing a grocery list. No slurred speech, no headache, no dizziness. Just small mistakes, easy to brush off, but powerful enough to warn that something deeper might be happening. What many people don't realize is that these small signs can sometimes be the body's way of warning about something much bigger. And here's the shocking truth. The hours right after those subtle symptoms appear can be the most critical of all. Acting quickly, whether it's by seeking help, adjusting habits, or making immediate changes in lifestyle, can literally change the outcome. Research shows that when the right steps are taken early, the risk of a major stroke can drop dramatically, even by more than 80%. Awareness and speed aren't just important, they can truly save lives. But here's what may surprise you most. The danger isn't always at the peak of a stressful day. In fact, research shows that the most critical window for stroke is often the very first hour after waking up. Think about it. Overnight, your body goes 6 to 8 hours without water, which makes your blood thicker. At dawn, cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes sharply. And on top of that, blood pressure naturally rises, especially as we age. It's a perfect storm that can quietly raise the risk in those early morning moments. And then, many people make morning choices that quietly make this fragile moment even worse. Together, these conditions create a perfect storm: thick blood, tight vessels, high pressure surging through aging arteries. That's why the wrong morning habits can quietly triple your stroke risk. So what are these habits? Let's start with the first, skipping water. Think about how most people start their day. They wake up, brush their teeth, check their phone, and pour a steaming cup of coffee. But they don't drink any water. This is a huge mistake, especially after 60. After hours of sleep, your blood is like a sponge without water, thick, slow, and more likely to clot. In fact, one study published in the European Journal of Neurology found that nearly half of first-time ischemic strokes were linked to low morning hydration. Nearly half. Not genetics, not diet, but simple dehydration. The fix? Before coffee, before pills, before anything, drink 1 full glass of room temperature or warm water. Not ice cold because your body doesn't need shock. It needs circulation. This simple step rehydrates your brain, not just your mouth. The second habit is staying still in bed too long. Many people wake up and sit quietly scrolling on their phones or staring at the ceiling for 20 or 30 minutes. It feels restful, but after 60, it's dangerous. When you lie still for hours and then remain seated without moving, blood pools in the lower body. That slows its return to the heart and reduces circulation to the brain. If you already have plaque or clot risk, this can trigger disaster. That's why some people suffer strokes in the bathroom right after waking. The solution is gentle movement. While still lying down, flex your toes, roll your ankles. When you sit up, do shoulder circles and neck rolls. Then stand gently and walk. Even 2 minutes of light activity helps blood flow safely back to the brain. Longevity isn't about big changes. It's about small, smart shifts. The third dangerous habit is skipping breakfast. In younger people, fasting can bring health benefits. But after 60, it's a different story. Older bodies are more vulnerable to low blood sugar, and the brain depends on glucose. When seniors wake up dehydrated, take their medications, drink coffee, and then eat nothing, they create the perfect storm for dizziness, foggy thinking, or even a vascular event. Many stroke cases in seniors combine skipped meals, medication, and morning stress. The better choice? Eat a light, protein-rich breakfast. It doesn't have to be big: half a boiled egg, a spoonful of yogurt, a few soaked walnuts. Just enough to stabilize blood sugar and send a message of support to your brain. Remember, after 60, breakfast is not optional. It's protection. Now let's talk about stress. Rushing into mental strain is the fourth morning danger. The brain, right after waking, is still transitioning into full gear. Cortisol is already spiking and blood pressure is rising. If you immediately check emails, read the news, or argue about the day's plans, you're stacking mental pressure on top of physical stress at the most vulnerable time of day. A massive study of over 93,000 people followed for more than a decade found that those who experienced high psychological stress early in the morning were far more likely to suffer strokes, especially those over 60. The fix? Create a buffer. Take 10 minutes for quiet stretching, a walk, or even just sitting calmly with tea. This is not luxury. This is neurological hygiene. Your brain needs space to stabilize before you load it with demands. And finally, the most overlooked danger of all: morning stillness and inactivity. This isn't about staying in bed too long. It's about spending the first hour or two sitting at the table, on the couch, or in a chair with no movement. It feels normal, even healthy, to ease into the day like this. But for older adults, stillness is dangerous. When blood isn't circulating, legs become pooling zones, and clots often begin there. We see this in hospitals where patients confined to bed have sharply increased clot risks. But the same principle applies at home. A study in Circulation tracked more than 8,000 adults over 60 and found that those who spent more than 9 hours a day sedentary had double the risk of stroke, even if they exercise later. Because it's not just how much you move, it's when you move. The first hour after waking is the critical window. Movement tells your body the day has begun, circulation must flow, and the brain can thrive. And the good news? None of these fixes require extreme effort. You don't need a treadmill, supplements, or expensive gadgets. Just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle mobility, marching in place, stretching, shoulder rolls, walking to the mailbox, combined with water, a light breakfast, and a few calm minutes before diving into stress. These are the habits that protect your brain, your heart, and your life. So let's bring this full circle. A stroke might seem like a sudden event, but in truth, it is years in the making. The first signs are not always dramatic. They whisper through small slips in coordination, through skipped breakfasts, through mornings without water, and hours spent in stillness. But if you listen, if you act, you can protect yourself and your loved ones. If this message resonates with you, don't wait. Share this video with someone over 60. Hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and tell us in the comments what morning habit you're going to change starting tomorrow. Because awareness saves lives, and together we can spread it. Health after 60 is not about perfection. It's about consistent awareness. Your body isn't asking for miracles. It's asking you to pay attention. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the emails, before the rush of the day, pause. Drink your water, move your body, nourish your brain, and breathe. Because when blood flows, the brain thrives. And when the brain thrives, the whole body follows. See you on the next video. Bye.